The Rookie is one of those shows that feels deceptively simple on the surface. It's funny, it's personal, it's tense, and it builds real emotional attachment. But behind that smooth daily rhythm is a messy industry machine. Contracts, scheduling, network decisions, streaming numbers, and personal values. And that's where today's story lives. Because the big question fans always have is this: why do actors actually leave? Was someone fired? Was there drama? Was it personal? Was it money? Or was it something completely different? Today, we're diving into The Rookie and the real reason some actors walked away, and what happened to them after they left. Let's get into it. Afton Williamson, Talia Bishop, was introduced as a major character, ambitious, focused, driven, and a powerful contrast to Nolan's late start in policing. So when Afton Williamson left after season 1, fans were stunned, and the questions came almost instantly. Why did she leave? And was it planned? The official statement at the time called it a creative decision, but that wasn't the full story. Afton Williamson later went public. She alleged she experienced racial discrimination and harassment on set. She said her complaints weren't handled properly until investigations began. That immediately changed the conversation, because this wasn't a simple storyline exit. It was about workplace experience. ABC and the production company launched an investigation. The final public conclusion stated there was no evidence corroborating her claims. But anyone who understands Hollywood knows something important. Internal investigations are not the same as public truth. They are narrow, controlled, and built around policy definitions. What matters here is Afton Williamson's perspective, and her decision to leave was built on feeling unheard and unprotected. And from a career standpoint, that matters more than any corporate conclusion. Afton Williamson. After The Rookie now, let's talk about what happened after. Because when actors leave series regular roles, fans assume the worst. But for Afton Williamson, leaving didn't kill momentum. Before The Rookie, she already had credibility. She had worked on The Night Of, Shades of Blue, Banshee, and Homeland. So when she left, she wasn't disappearing. She was repositioning. She continued acting, while also speaking publicly about workplace equity and treatment. And that matters. Because leaving a network show can be risky. But leaving for values is a professional stance, not a failure. And that sets the tone for our bigger theme. Titus Macon Jr. Jackson West wasn't just another rookie. He was the moral compass of the early seasons. Smart, empathetic, and deeply human. And Titus Macon Jr. played him with authenticity. So when he left after season 3, fans were confused. And here's where the story gets interesting. Titus Macon Jr. did not initially make a public statement. He didn't promote the premiere. He didn't post about the show. And he didn't explain the exit. For fans, that created mystery. But inside the industry, it made sense. The real context behind the exit Titus Macon Jr. has always been outspoken about social justice. He cares about representation, policing, and race in America. And season 3 aired during a tense period in national culture, with police brutality protests and systemic issues in the spotlight. For an actor of color playing a police officer, that becomes personal. He reportedly struggled with the role's alignment with his values, and that's a different kind of exit. Not about money, not about screen time, but about identity. And when an actor reaches that point, continuing becomes costly. The show's adjustment when season 4 premiered, fans immediately noticed Jackson West was gone. The character was killed off screen in the opening scene. For many viewers, it felt abrupt. For production, it was logistical. When an actor leaves during writing or pre-production, the show has to rebuild fast, and procedurals run on tight schedules. That explains why the exit felt sudden. Titus Macon Jr. After the show, here's where it gets even more interesting. Titus Macon Jr. wasn't just an actor, he is also a musician. Under the stage name Butterfly Alley, he had already been releasing music. And after leaving The Rookie, he shifted deeper into that world. He released singles and videos. He performed live. He built a brand around artistry instead of acting. And that choice makes sense. Because careers aren't linear, and actors don't exist just for television. Titus Mackin Jr. left to align his work with his values and passions. And that's a legitimate career decision, not a disappearance. Sarah Shahi, Detective Jessica Russo. Sarah Shahi's exit was different. No controversy, no sudden tension, no off-screen mystery. She simply got a bigger opportunity. She played Jessica Russo briefly. And then she left because she was cast in Sex Life on Netflix. And not just cast, she became the lead. That's a massive career leap. And here's the strategic reality of Hollywood. Network procedurals are stable, but Netflix leads are star-making. And Sarah Shahi was ready for that jump. Sarah Shahi, after leaving The Rookie, her career accelerated. Sex Life became a viral streaming hit. She gained international recognition. She landed more leading work. She got producer-level conversations. From a career standpoint, that's a level up. This exit wasn't about conflict, it was about opportunity cost. Marcia Monroe. Isabel Bradford. Marcia Monroe played Isabel Bradford, a tragic emotional character arc built around addiction. And she delivered some of the most human scenes of early seasons. But her arc had closure. She went to rehab, she took accountability, she rebuilt. And when a character's story reaches emotional resolution, procedurals move on. Marcia Monroe. After The Rookie, Marcia Monroe is a working actor with range. Before The Rookie, she was in Episodes, Heart of Dixie, and The Other Guys. And after The Rookie, she continued to work in both comedy and drama. She also expanded into writing and producing. This is another exit that fans misunderstand. Not all departures are big dramatic statements. Some are just the natural arc of a character. Mercedes Mason, Captain Zoe Anderson. Mercedes Mason's exit shocked fans because her character died. And Zoe Anderson was loved, competent, grounded, respected. So why kill her? This is one of those story engine decisions. Killing a leader raises stakes. It tells viewers no one is safe. And it changes the power dynamic of the show. Mercedes Mason. After The Rookie, after leaving, Mercedes Mason didn't disappear. She continued acting. And she also moved into producing and writing. She started developing projects behind the camera. And that's a trend in the industry. A lot of actors shift to creative control after years in front of the lens. Exits become pivots. Fan behavior patterns. Now that we've looked at individual exits, let's zoom out. Because there's a pattern here. Actors don't just leave for one reason. They leave for values, for opportunity, for narrative closure, for typecasting risk, and for career expansion. Fan reactions and social media culture. One huge element today that didn't exist 20 years ago is fan commentary. When someone leaves a show now, social media explodes, and that shapes perception. When Afton left, fans debated treatment and safety. When Titus left, fans debated representation and policing. When Sarah Shahi left, fans said, "She got a Netflix bag, go get it." When Mercedes Mason left, fans debated creative strategy. Career trajectories matter. Actors don't live inside shows, they live inside careers. And careers are long. Television used to lock actors in for a decade. But the new model is different. Actors jump between streaming, film, voice work, music, producing, and even entrepreneurship. The Rookie survival says something important: cast exits can kill a show. But The Rookie survived, it stabilized, it evolved, and it introduced dynamics that wouldn't exist otherwise, like Chenford, like Harper's complexity, like Lopez's growth. So why did actors really leave The Rookie? Some left because of values, some left because of opportunities, some because their stories reached a natural end, and some because life calls you in other directions. And every one of those reasons is human. And every one of them makes sense once you look at the full picture. At the end of the day, the biggest stories in television aren't always on screen. Sometimes they're the stories behind the exits. And that's the reality of The Rookie.